rest in peace. Now you're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now. I'm gonna make you bleed out. Listen on repeat now and read out all the weak now. Get up.
It might have been a minute since I've played with StreamYard. Give me a second to get things up and moving. Share, please. Because I'm not Wintus and I don't have the sharing capacity she does. Good morning, good morning. Hey, I look absolutely terrible. That's great. Hey, Rose. Hey, Chris. Share now and then share into groups. Which ones can I get in trouble sharing into? We shall see. Yeah. No, Rose, it is morning. It is always morning on the rant. Every day. Every day. One more group. Let us see. We'll do this one. I like this one. All right. So how's everyone's week going so far, other than shitty? No. Don't need these. I'm not playing games right now. I can't believe some shit, guys. Let's go on over to Facebook for a second. We're gonna look up a moron. Ah, there he is. Oh, no one cares about your backyard, Doug. Let's go take a look at the pages he is in. Is it this one? Nope. Ah, here we are. Ah, Doug Matthews and his litigation. Let us go ahead and read through this real quick. From Doug Matthews and the Flint politics page, which Winton is going to get mad at me for saying. Some of you have noticed that Councilman Chairman Joseph King convened a special meeting of the Flint Ethics and Accountability Board, EAB, last night. This was written 6 days ago. Immediately after, they went into a 90-minute private session and then adjourned without further discussion. According to acting city attorney, which there's no name given, a private session was to discuss a legal action that I have recently filed with the clerk of the 7th Judicial Court. I wanted to share a brief summary of that legal action. The case number of the 7th Judicial Court is 2024-000121304-Alpha Whiskey. Background. I have submitted multiple complaints about service performance failures and the misconduct by public servants. These complaints have not been properly acknowledged, investigated, or acted upon. Additionally, the EAB has unlawfully appointed interim ombudsperson who does not meet the qualifications required by our city charter and ordinances. Keys of the complaint: unqualified appointment, despite legal opinions confirming that the interim ombudsperson does not meet the necessary qualifications. The EAB has retained her in the position. This is a clear violation of the charter and ordinances. Lack of procedural rules. The EAB has failed to establish and implement constitutionally valid procedural rules, undermining the due process rights of complainants. No action on complaints. The EAB and interim ombudsperson have failed to act on my complaints, issue case numbers, or provide any indication of actions taken. Lack of transparency. The EAB has not submitted the required annual reports to the City Council for the past 2 years, further eroding public trust. Alpha Whiskey up. Let me get my Discord out of the way. Beverly Barnes. It's phonetic alphabet for AW. I'm sorry. It just comes naturally. It's been years and years that I've been doing shit like that. Legal request from L. Dougie Doug. Appoint independent counsel to investigate my complaints and ensure an impartial review. Order compliance. Compel the EAB to act on my complaints, establish procedural rules, and submit overdue reports. Remove unqualified interim ombudsperson. Remove the interim ombudsperson from office for not meeting the required qualifications. Initiate search for permanent ombudsperson. Start a search for a qualified permanent ombudsperson. It's incredible and more than a little ironic that I find myself having to sue the ethics board just to get them to act ethically. I really, really dislike Doug. Give me a second here. Because of his little lawsuit stunt, a woman who has dedicated her time, her own money, her own resources to working for the betterment of the city of Flint and its people, who has put her own money into courses to be better in the position that she was in, has been removed. Because this selfish, greedy, self-important little weasel. This man is extremely unhinged. Many people have had issues with the city government for years. There have been multiple complaints on Liddell Lewis, Quincy Murphy, Judy Priestley, Candace Machat. There have been complaints against the chief of police. There have been complaints against the now chief of fire, who started off as interim. There have been complaints left and right about the city. And for a year and change, we did not have an ombudsperson at all. There was a backlog. There still is. Miss Little was having to work through that while at the same time receiving less money than she is worth and spending much of that money on furthering her education to serve the city better. I cannot commend her enough. But this little man wanted to be put ahead of everyone else. He is the type of piece of trash who believes because he has some sort of background, he is allowed to be put to the head of the line. It goes further. Doug, who is self-important, decided to give an update August 13th. Litigation update. The following judicial writs I recently submitted regarding the service performance failures and the unlawful appointment of the interim ombudsperson to the permanent ombudsperson position tonight at the Flint Ethics and Accountability Board held a vote to address the appointment issue. The vote concluded with 6 members in favor and 1 opposed to the removal. As a result, the ombudsperson has been removed from her position effective immediately. I will keep you posted on further developments in the litigation. Doug, no one cares. You're just trying to jump to the front of the line, for one. And for two, it really does seem like you're going for that position yourself. So you had the nerve to jump in front of a courtroom to get a woman fired. So you yourself could get into that position. Now, the only question I have is, will they appoint him? Even if he doesn't meet qualifications now, council can change the qualifications to tailor it to him, as we've seen the city of Flint do on multiple occasions, including with the Mott board. Or is he just a useful idiot? Is he someone that they used to remove Flint's last standing guardian, who placed herself between the mayor and council and their tyranny and the people of the city of Flint? And now they're going to appoint someone else. Was he led to believe that he'd get this position just to be let down? And then will he change his tune? Honestly, Doug being the cat's paw he is, I doubt he will. He's going to sit there, gripe in private for a few days, and then come back and say it's for the better. And he supports the new ombudsperson. Doug is a lying little weasel. This is the same man who, on multiple occasions, has referred to City Councilwoman Tanya Burns as slyin', crying, lion Burns. Avoid the baskets of snakes and vote integrity in the 7th Ward, and shows a picture of snakes. This man is extremely unhinged, and he takes any criticism of his actions as an attack against him based on his sexuality, which, to be honest with you, I don't care with. I don't care who Doug sleeps with. I just think he's a terrible person, gay, straight, backwards, forwards, whatever. But he's going to say that I'm attacking him for that. He is one of the least integral people I've ever met. A man who cannot stand on his own 2 legs without Candace supporting him, and a man who has no convictions other than what he is told. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is not a recapping of what has happened. It is a wake of what we have lost. The city of Flint has lost its last guardian. Salute. Following this, only one person on the E&A board had a fucking spine. That would be Billie Danler. Billie stood her ground and voted no to remove Shasta Little. Why? Because she knew that everything that was being set up was a fucking lie. And Billie, being Billie, didn't want to go along with the get along. She decided to stand up for what's right. And then, after that meeting, somehow, circumstantially, there is a report, unconfirmed, that she has attacked Paul. I can't say I'm surprised. They've been wanting to get rid of her for a while now, ever since she stood up for herself to Liddell Lewis, who called her out for nothing. Liddell has picked on Billie multiple times because Billie refuses to get on her train at the E&A board. Billie one time held up a pen and was ejected from the meeting for a lewd gesture, saying that she was flipping off Liddell Lewis. She was not. I was in attendance. I was witness to this. She held up a pen, ladies and gentlemen. A pen as such. She did not drop a finger. But as it is, very next time, Billie was sitting down, middle of the right-hand side of City Council, and was called by name, which I do not think City Council should be doing. They should call you out by where you're at, maybe point, but calling you by name seems a little disrespectful. It's a name and shame. And accused of something that she did not do again. And this time, Billie stood up for herself and was immediately removed from City Council chambers, followed by a resolution to remove her from the E&A board, which failed. They are now trying to bring it back up. And I believe they're going to try to use this most recent this most recent unconfirmed report of an assault on Paul. As Ms. Beverly Barnes points out, Paul and Liddell attacked Ms. Liz. Nothing was done. Something tells me that in the privacy of that elevator, where there is no camera footage and where it's supposed to be in America, innocent until proven guilty, Billie did nothing and was accused of something. She may have vocalized that she thinks Paul is a slimy little shirt or shit, which I don't disagree with. And Paul decided to say that he was assaulted, just like he said he was assaulted by Miss Liz Taylor. Tonight we will see if our now only person outside of Tanya, Jerry, Dennis, and JJ is going to be removed. I'm willing to bet yes. But at the same time, does Ms. Billie deserve to be on the E&A board? Does she deserve to be the only person with courage and standards and a spine in a room? Does she deserve to be derided at every turn because she decides to stand on what she believes? Or does she deserve to go out and do bigger and better things because she is a bigger and better person? I happen to believe the latter. So if they remove Billie tonight, I'm not going to mourn. I'm not going to be upset. I'm going to be happy for Billie. She is a wonderful woman. I've met her many, many times. She is someone that I thoroughly enjoy talking to. And I think in that room full of cowards being pressured by a weasel, she is wasted. And that by far, the city of Flint deserves far better than the room that she is in, but having just her there does absolutely nothing. Sherry Allen has the idea. Whether Doug is appointed or it's another Neely Cat's paw, that ENA board will be weaponized against the residents of Flint, against Tanya Burns, Jerry Winfrey Carter, Dennis, and JJ. And anything else that the city happens to be in control of. Your complaints about the mayor will go nowhere. There will be 2 boxes: complaints about mayor, complaints about the 4 I have mentioned. The 4 you have mentioned, you can see them get laid in a tray. Mayor and the others goes right into a fucking shredder. And then to tack on to all of this, I have seen a Linda Pendleton post. Linda Pendleton is kind of a disgusting human being, one that I hope makes love with a cactus rather soon. Let me see. Here we are, ready and prepared for your freedom of speech Friday, August 16th, 2024, Billie Danler supporters. Well, I know I am, and I'm expressing it right now. Councilwoman Tanya Burns and Councilwoman Jerry Winfrey Carter, y'all can appeal the ruling of the chair for every audience member in the council chambers if y'all want to. There's going to be a different outcome. Audience members, you will get a fast first warning and second warning. If you plan on being disorderly, I guarantee you will be arrested. That applies to senior citizens like Elizabeth Taylor and Gladys Williamson, too. You will be escorted to the back of a police unit patrol vehicle. The council will have order. If you get arrested tomorrow, you will be aware you will have to stay in jail the whole weekend for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and see a judge Monday. That sounds like someone who might know exactly the mindset of Liddell Lewis. That sounds like it might be Liddell Lewis or one of her very close associates. But I want you to understand, that is a threat against you. That is a threat against good order. That is a threat against you speaking your mind and standing your ground. And I don't think I'm wrong. The thought of being arrested for opening your mouth and standing on what is correct disgusts me. There's a nice quote from Thomas Jefferson that when the people fear the government, there is tyranny. But when the government fears people, there is liberty. And I think tonight is not a night to show fear. If they have to scare you to control you, then they are afraid. And afraid of what? No one's preached violence against them. I know I won't. I know I won't. However, disorder, be loud, be proud. I don't think they can arrest everyone. I don't think they'll arrest anyone. And make the news. Make it go as far and as wide as possible. Make such a stinking uproar that people in Detroit are hearing it on their evening news. I unfortunately am down in Florida. Otherwise, I'd be the first one in line. I cannot think of a reason why city council would be so opposed of people speaking their name. Why people would be so opposed to just an honest expression of honest feelings. They have systematically worn down every protection that the residents of Flint had, and that is why I moved. There we go. The Reverend Kevin Roy Berryhill went to his favorite Berryhill. He wants to hear about it on his news in Texas. Don't go quietly. Show up and support like Winters called for. Speak up and speak out. Do not be cowed by their threats. Because anytime a government has to threaten you, they are terrified. Liddell had over 1,000 signatures on her, according to Ms. Beverly Barnes. I believe that was something like 100+ pages of signatures gathered by Miss Beverly Biggs. Thank you very much, Miss Beverly. You are still doing the work of the city, even though you don't even have an office yet. And Mr. Jeb Brown. Mr. Jeb coming into Flint, using his resources to get these recalls, as well as to help out 810, has been an amazing man. And I am honored that he's even come on to 810. I'm happy and grateful that he has worked with Mickey and Wintis and Miss Bev all over the city of Flint. Damn right they can't. We have allies. Everyone here, all 42 of you that are watching live, and maybe the extra, 150, 250 that'll watch this over the coming week. I'll tell you what. You are the allies that Flint needs. An elected position won't save the city. Waiting for a hero or a savior has done nothing but screw the city over. You have to be the change. Otherwise, we get more Liddells. Otherwise, we get more Quincy Murphys. We get more Candace Machatts. We get more Leon Alamines. We get more Judy Priestleys. We do not have the people in place. You have to get up. You have to be loud. You have to vote. You have to get out of your house and go vote. Don't trust the damn ballot, the early voting. Somehow the 13th precinct had 0 votes. I guarantee you, I promise you, that some of those were mail-in ballots. And it seems very easy for those to get lost. Get up and go vote. From Eunice Jackson, it's time for 2 of them to replace their picks and 1 to appoint someone. The first chair that flips needs to reappoint as well. The EAB and council should change at the same time. Not to mention, there was a beautiful post. I can't remember the man's name. Check in Flint Politics Reboot. But there should be a public hearing for each appointee, which only 1 person has. So out of 11, only 1 has gone through that process. To me, that says anyone who hasn't gone through that process can be removed at the behest of the city council member. Say Douglas or Dennis decides to remove Mr. Harris. Why? Well, your appointment's illegal, sir. It's much like an interim appointment. Give me a second, Eunice. I will look it up for you. I believe it is in Flint Politics Reboot. A lot of Dalton. And I believe it was yesterday or day prior. Did anyone know? From Elijah Green. Let me go ahead and... Where's the share button on this? There isn't one. Okay. In that case, give me a second, Eunice, and I'll just tag you. Or not. Here. I'll look you up in here and I'll send it to you. But it was made 23 hours ago. So yesterday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by Mr. Elijah Green. Do I think Harris wants to be in city council? I'm trying not to make jokes here. I'm trying. I'm failing. I don't think that floor could support him. To be 100% with you. But I think 2026 rolls around. You'll see his name on the ballot. And he's going to try to smear Dennis. You're going to see that council is going to try to smear Dennis to try to get him to try to get either Harris or someone else in there. Harris is probably just going to slide on in. It'd be the only thing he slid on in a very long time. Can't even get his pants to slide on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can we all just say a prayer for the next DNA board meeting? That chair holds as strong as it has. And let's hope that Billy holds up as strong as that chair. I'm sorry. I am in a piss poor mood. I've been reading this shit all fucking week, and all I've thought of is they are just attacking the folks. They're attacking the folks of Flint. And no, it's not fat shaming. It's gravity shaming. Anna, I'm not nice. Come on now. You know better. Shit, it's called Trevor's Rant for a reason. Honestly, it's time to reinstate bullying, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of just speaking once in a while, we must speak our mind every moment of every day. That crooks and criminals like Liddell Lewis and Candace Machat can run a city into the ground and only be spoken to or spoken about once or twice a month is truly astounding to me. Bullying does have a purpose, believe it or not. It is to correct societal anomalies. So you had the stinky kid in class that never took a bath. You'd make fun of him until he took a bath. That's what you need to start doing with folks like Leon Alameen, like Judy Priestley, like Quincy Murphy, like Joe King, like Mr. Harris. You have to speak out in public. You have to be loud. And you have to make them ashamed of the shit they do that affects you. Yes, Jackson, you are absolutely correct. It doesn't name them. The only people it does name would be, well, it alludes to Billie as not getting her a public hearing, and it also names Trishelle Young as an employee. Jessica, I honestly thought that you would be one of the ones against bullying, but I want to believe you are on my side here. That if you put some negative energy into the community is going to put some negative energy into you. Irma, not just has he used not just racial remarks, but slurs. Well, let's name it for what it is. He used the N-word toward a group of African-American men and women in public with no shame, and then went and hid behind some cops after he had made fun of a mental, I don't want to say illness, but a moment of weakness during Men's Mental Health Month. And then, prior to even that, he decided to sexually assault a male in the audience by blowing kisses. Now, if you turn things around and a random guy were to do that to a random female, we'd all be screaming bloody fucking murder. Doug has gotten away with far too much, and I think he needs to be bullied too. Until people can find themselves in proper alignment with society. This man is saying that he is a activist for ethical governance. Tell me, what's ethical about giving yourself $100,000 of public funds, $350,000 of public funds? What is ethical about shouting down the First Amendment? What is ethical about these things? To me, nothing is. The First Amendment is what this country is built upon. When you cannot speak your mind, when you cannot influence governance by being truthful and honest without being heard, if you cannot do that, then it is not government by the people for the people anymore. In that case, what it most closely resembles is a tyranny or dictatorship. Ronald, good afternoon, good sir. Jade. Doug is a rebound. The city is only using him now because they are desperate. I think oh shit, my wife's in the chat. Anyway, I think more honestly, what he is a useful idiot. Someone who's willing to spend his own time and money and energy writing up these horrible speeches, being a caricature of himself, being a joke of himself, to come up and attack people, use his own money to remove people from their lawfully appointed positions. And he thinks at the end he's going to be rewarded. He's just the useful idiot that they're going to throw away. Jessica, I can't put that one up on the YouTube side. However, I can't say I fully disagree. Though I will not incite violence, I will not call for violence, except with words. Be mean. Use mean words. But I'm not saying you're wrong. So now, tonight, we will see them show up. And it's already a foregone conclusion that Billy will be dismissed. So I'm thinking, before this happens, go back to the Bricks, get yourself a couple beers, have a good time, walk on into City Council, speak your piece, and then leave, go back to the Bricks, and continue having a couple beers. I think that is the best way to do it. Don't let this get you down. Honestly, at this point, Flint is a lost cause until 2026, when most of the terms are up and you can vote them out. If you're still living in Flint, I pray for you. No, Ronald, not today. But if you're still living in Flint, I pray for you. I hope every day that things get better. And I hope every day that that you're stopped being used as a endless bank account. I hope every day that the police actually do their job. My daughter's friend called her in hysteria the other night. Friend's stepfather stabbed her mother multiple times. A hole in the shoulder, lacerations across the back and chest, and then defensive wounds across the forearms. She thankfully went and picked up my daughter. My daughter administered first aid the way that I taught her. I'm very proud of her for that. And they called the police. The police didn't show up. They waited for 3 hours and the police did not show up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with all this fighting and arguing over who needs to be the ombudsperson, over who gets to be on the ENA board, We've lost sight of what really matters, that the cops don't do what they're supposed to do, that your mayor is stealing money, that your council people are stealing money and not directing the cops and the fire department. Hell, the fire chief said, what, 2 or 3 homes a day get lit up in Flint? But they want to sit up there and fight and pick arguments, waste your time, try to misdirect your attention to things that don't matter. It's a rather depressing situation. This is the reason why people are moving out. And like Dennis said, Dennis is a sitting council person, sitting councilman on Flint City Council. He said if you have the opportunity, move, because he can't stop them. I'm hoping in 2026 he retains his seat, and I'm hoping that his brother runs for mayor and humiliates Neely. Because let's face it, we could all use a man who has the balls to call Eva Worthing cunt to her face in the mayor's seat. We need someone with some integrity and someone with some cojones to do what's right. I am severely dissatisfied with the recall on Liddell Lewis, not because it's happening, but more because you have to wait until May now. I want you guys to think about that. So, in the time that it takes for the recall signatures to be verified, to the time you get to vote, they can change the charter again. In the time it takes between those two events, they can spend the money of Flint. They can enact new laws. Hell, they may even try to change the charter to where Liddell's recall is ineffective, even though it's state law, but they don't follow that anyway. Honestly, if anyone with money is listening, I implore you to go ahead and sue just like Dougie Doug did to get your way and move that election up. I mean, hell, we're sitting at the 8th month of the year right now. I think a December election isn't too far out of the way. Flint Caskets, can they do an emergency recall? They have. Liddell is up there. And if you're talking about Candace, no, you have to be in that seat for a year. She just took the seat. So you don't get to recall her until August of next year, except you cannot recall them a year out from the end of term. So she's basically untouchable for the rest of the time. So until 2026, Candace will be in that 7th ward seat. Now you have to worry about the 1st ward. And while Miss Rose was my first pick, I am standing behind Carol McIntosh now. I'm hoping for some sort of change. I'm hoping Carol will bring down the House. I'm hoping she'll stand up and fight for your rights. She's done it before on the ENA board. I don't see why council will be any different. Beverly Barnes, I don't think that'll work, but you can go ahead and try it. Then, of course, you've got the 3rd ward battle. I'm all for Miss Bev Biggs. I think she has the best chance, though, Miss Bev Biggs, if you're listening, I need you to, during public speaking, do less poking and jabbing and barbs at the people sitting up there. You need to consolidate people behind you. You've made your point that they're all idiots and clowns. Now you need to show your stance on the business. Ms. Bev, tell them what you don't like about which resolution and how much money and where and why and when. You have to show the people that you're a serious candidate. I implore you, and I stand behind you 100%. This is just my advice going out to hopefully someone that considers me a friend like I considered them a friend. because between you and Carol, you two are our only two real hopes for change on that city council. And if we can flip 2 seats, then that's 6 votes, and not even Liddell can stop you. Not even Liddell can sit there and, oh, well, you need 6 votes. Well, guess what? We got 2/3. Bite me. Here's our 2/3. Go screw yourself. Make the gavel disappear. I know if that happens, you'll see a resurgence of Linda Pendleton post. And while they're posting like their life depends on it right now, they're going to live on Facebook after that. I know Neely's going to run every day and try to spend as much of that money as he can. And then he's going to be begging everyone around the city to fund his campaign because he just dropped out of the congressional race and he had a war chest of a couple mil. He's already announced his candidacy for 2026. I believe it's 26. Anyway, 2 years out. So now we need someone right now to stand up and say, I'm going to be running for the mayor. And then we need to get them to start up their committee, get them to start up their bank account, and we need to start funneling money into them legally. We need to get them as big of a war chest as possible before election season. And then they can go forth and get themselves endorsements and get even greater money so they can run properly. Christine Leach, I don't know if you're being rhetorical or not. I'll tell you my thoughts on it. And this ain't no shot against anyone. I mean, it's not meant to be, how do I put this, insulting. But as I've seen AC Dumas move, I do not trust him. That's just my honest assessment. I don't think I'd like him up there, even though he knows the charter very well. I've also seen him play around and mess with contracts on the school board, something that he had no right to play around with in the first place. Rich Jones, while I believe his heart's in the right place, I don't think that he is the right man for the job. Like I said, no shade. Me and Rich, well, he's having a moment again, and he will probably eventually come back around. I don't think that policy is his forte. Would I like to see him working for a council person? Yes, because Rich is a known commodity in the community and can go out and get honest opinions. But as a councilman, no. No, I don't think so, because he gets a great idea in his head, such as no water bill, but what are you going to replace that revenue with? He thinks one step, but not the fallout. And that's just my honest opinion. From Mark Hutchinson. At Christine, my opinion is that AC Dumas and Rich Jones got a call from Neely to take votes away from Beverly. Both know they have no chance. I don't think Neely would try to call Rich, and I know Rich would reject that call immediately. That's just my go-to. Flint has been plagued by a series of piss poor council members, a series of piss poor mayors for decades now. And now is our time to try to fix it. You have to be involved. You have to be informed. You can't just be a couch warrior on this. If you want change, you have to do it. And if you aren't willing to get up and do the fight, then get out of everyone's way. I've seen some people pop up here and there and all along who don't even live in the city of Flint. And mind you, I don't right now. But tell the people of the city of Flint what they really should be looking at in Flint, or what the real problem in Flint is. Get out of the way. Support the Flint residents. Hey, I'm here for you. What do you need? Hey, I can be moral support. Do what you have to do. But telling people in Flint that you're doing things wrong when you've never lived in Flint yourself is one of the biggest pet peeves I found I have lately. Coming up with, listen, 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 you're not informed. Pretty sure living in the area gets you informed. That's just me. Mr. Clark, I only wish. We're also trying for a Gatorade one. That's a great point, Christine Leach. What we really should be seeing instead of the Fabulous Five, the Fucked Five, whatever you want to call them, doing that. I want to see Tanya go out and find someone that she trusts with the 6th Ward. I want to see Jerry go out and find someone that she trusts with the 5th Ward. Dennis and JJ do the same with their wards and start showing them the ins and outs of governance from the beginning before they even touch that seat so they know what's up. And then they can go on to bigger and better things. State rep's always a deal. We've also got other positions, state senator, take that away from Cherry. Or maybe they just want to sit down and rest for a little bit, which we can't blame them for. They've been fighting for us for so damned long. Let's see them take their replace the people that they trust to hold that ward down so they can sit down and rest. Teach them. Oh, Kevin, I tell you what, there is no competing mayor, but it would be nice to see someone sit down and learn what it means to be the mayor of the city of Flint ahead of running it. Yeah, Christine, that's what I was saying. Mr. Clark, she can stand strong for another 10 for all I care. But when she says it's time for her to take a rest, she needs to have someone that she can fall back to and say, you take over. When she's ready. And I truly hope it's not 2026 that she's ready, because my mother-in-law will be in her ward at that point because the damn boundary changes, which they announced so far ahead of time and confuse everyone on purpose. I honestly think I trust my mother-in-law in her care. Oh, we keep saying Leon. I keep having a couple issues about him. This is a man that has come up and has said he's doing the work, but most of that work was started by Mays. This is a man that is standing on a dead man's shoulders trying to say that he has accomplished everything when he has accomplished nothing. Honestly, if you take a look at his registration to run, he put in the wrong zip code. I don't know how you run for an office and put in the wrong zip code. He put in 40804, which is actually in Kentucky, as his campaign headquarters. Now, low be it for me to know law, but I would feel like that'd be something that disqualify you, as now you have on official record said that your campaign headquarters for city council happens to be in Kentucky. Miss Tara, let's go ahead and put that up there and say it again with our chest. Rally behind Miss Carroll. Miss Carroll is one of the best bets for the city of Flint at this point. I think that is one of the things that we need. Miss Carroll doesn't take no shit. And granted, I feel with her, many council meetings will end without much being done because she is going to keep on shooting down bullshit. But I'm far happier with that than someone who's going to go along to get along and try to pay themselves. I'd rather someone speak up and proudly for what they believe in rather than they just believe in their own bank account. So, come November, Miss Carroll, my opinion. That is my hope. I can't tell you who to vote for, and I won't. I can tell you how to vote. Remember, you fill in the little circle of who you want. Christopher Sims. You and me both. A man who cannot think for himself has no place in governance. That's just how it is. Mr. Clark, I happen to disagree with you because Liddell, being city council president for what little time she has left before those elections come back up, or however it is, will go back to the you need 6 votes. Remember, she's going to play whatever it is that makes it easier for her to win. So if it becomes a 5-4 in favor of us, she's going to bring up the you need 2/3, and 2/3 of 9 is 6. They're not going to do fucked up math anymore. They're going to do regular math. And if that's the case, maybe someone should sue. Maybe someone should sue, going, oh, well, if that's the law, then all these things that you passed with only 5 votes, maybe not legal. But we'll see how that works. We'll see how that works. And remember, they can take a minute to swear someone in if they damn well please. Because it's all on the clerk, and the clerk, well, let's just say there's no reason to trust Davina. She has given us no reason. As far as we all know, she was hiding votes under that wig of hers. I mean, what? Tara is speaking some honesty, some hard truths, while I'm disregarding any of the conversation they had. It is true that if you flip the 1st and 3rd wards, you don't have to worry about that 6-vote bullshit. Christopher Sims, Miss Jan Marie unfortunately lost her race. Hers was not a primary, it was the seat race. So, unfortunately, you're stuck with Candace until 2026 when the original term of that seat is over. Ronald. Here's the thing with suing in Flint. Everyone that happens to agree with us on this side of the line also happens to be the poor and disenfranchised. Many people do not have the money for it. We can hope that someone does, and we can hope that they take up that stand and go for it. Other than that, it's crowdfunding. You have one person who has standing with the court to say, hey, I feel like we need to sue for this. And people hit them with a Cash App or GoFundMe. And then they go hire a lawyer and do it. But that's kind of a gnarly big ask, isn't it? Hey, give me $10,000 and I'll sue on your behalf. I'll sue to make things right. And then that person disappears. Things happen. Jan Marie go for a recount? I don't know, Mark. That's something to ask her. And here, can they recall Candace? No. Here's why. You cannot be recalled within the first year that you're elected to that seat, nor the last year of that seat. So, seeing as it is August that happened, that this most recent election happened, that will be August 2025. And that's also going to be the time for the primaries for that seat, or within a year of the primaries for that seat in 2026. You cannot be recalled within your first year or your last year. So no, Candace is in that seat until 2026, and hopefully then, instead of just a short race as it is a pinned race, instead of people scrambling, we can organize. I think that's one thing that Flint has a terrible job, a terrible track record of doing. Straight up organization. We need to figure out who is the best. Get everyone to stand up, say their positions, figure out who's the best, stand behind them, crowdfund for them, have people volunteer for them, go out, knock doors, place signs, give literature. You have to actually start organizing. Flint is terrible at it. I've said this for 2 years. It has driven me nuts. Seeing all these people with great passion, where their heart is in the right place and wanting to do the right thing, but they don't organize. And people don't want to help them organize. Ms. Tamaya, as someone pointed out, I believe it is Mr. Clark, come November is when they re-elect council officers. So if we can get the dream team, as you so beautifully emphasized, then we can get a new council president the same month. They don't even have to remove her. It's just time for new officers. Okay, Tanya or Jerry or Dennis. Honestly, I'd like to see Dennis just because he's even tempered, even keeled. And if someone yells at him from across the room, I don't think he's going to be as warning happy as anyone else, even if they disagree with him. This right here is something I also fear. I've got a feeling that since Ms. Biggs is going out and getting recalls for certain council members, they will be sure to smear her name and campaign. Or they might just follow the first ward's example and set her campaign headquarters on fire. Well, Mr. Clark, whether he wants it or not, he's still the right choice. I think Mr. Dennis is the type who will swallow what he wants, swallow his pride and do away with what he wants and do what is right. Mr. JJ, while I like him, I respect the shit out of him, and I heard so many positive things about him on 810 Day. I think he's a little bit new. Electing him as vice president and giving him the time to sit and learn and absorb instead of being bombarded with bullshit is the best way. Give it to him next time, because he took that 9th ward by storm, and I think he'll get it again in 2026, because apparently all council seats end in 26, like some weird bullshit. Mark, stop speaking truth. We can only take so much of it talking about Flint. Remember, the 3rd ward had a choice between AC Dumas and Quincy. They looked at both men and chose Quincy. That says a lot about AC. You're not wrong, but I can't say that, but you're not wrong. And as we are coming down to the final 1 minute and 30 seconds, please be sure to pick up We the Poison by Mr. Jordan Sheridan. I've got my copy. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. There's a lot in here that will enlighten you as to what has happened in the city of Flint, its history, and how we are where we are. Cameron, 3rd ward, I think, like I said, if Ms. Bev Biggs stops making fun of council members and starts going up there and speaking policy, that she will take that quickly. She'll take it handily. And that is my honest advice to her. Go up there with a resolution that you see on the agenda and tell them why you disagree with it, and then let them know why they're wrong doing what they're doing. But remember, guys, We the Poisoned, make sure to pick it up. Mr. Jordan Sheridan has been running around the Flint community for 10 years trying to help out with the Flint water crisis. He has been doing everything he can, from the status quo to his book to dropping fun little tidbits that make Mayor Neely write love letters and apologies. But I think that just about does it, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. I'm not sure of tonight's schedule because of Flint City Council and the probable removal of Billie Danler. But stay tuned. Mickey and Wintis will let you know what shows are coming on. And then tomorrow we got Tanya. And then we got shows like every day now. And then Poll Talk. Keep tuned to the channel. We're starting up a Patreon very soon. Myself and Miss Free Daddy are coming up with a show. We start recording on Monday. We're going to be doing some pre-records. That way you have content as soon as you sign up for the Patreon. We got a couple other things. I'm really excited to see what Mickey and Wintis are putting together. And yeah, I think that's about it there. As for that, Florida sucks, Ronald, but I love it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember this, and we'll catch you next time. And if you're going to be in the clubhouse, I will talk to you tomorrow.